Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch. The city of Edmonton is looking to add restrictions on where you can smoke.
The money itself is minuscule what they're giving out, $75,000, but at least it's a start.
Changes are in the works for Alberta's GDL program.
What the government is looking at is improving some of the highest risk areas right now for new drivers.
I'm getting people thinking and talking about the issue.
A NAIT artist pays tribute to missing and murdered Aboriginal women.
NAIT NewsWatch starts right now.
Good evening. Regardless of where you stand on the public smoking debate, things are about to heat up.
An amendment to the existing bylaw goes before City Council next week, which adds more restrictions to where smokers are allowed to light up. Our Patrick Knowles joins us live from our news center with that story.
The city is looking to clean up the air around where children gather to play, and several key organizations and community groups have jumped on board in support of these new restrictions in hopes that it prevents kids from lighting up in the first place.
As it stands, the bylaw restricts smokers from smoking on patios of restaurants, public vehicles, and any public buildings, including LRT stations and bus shelters. If the bylaw is passed, places added to the list would be any city seasonal skating rinks, playgrounds, skate parks, sports fields, and water spray parks.
We know that it's really very important if we have smoking restrictions in outdoor places. This is excellent modeling, role modeling for youth.
If the bylaw is passed, smokers will also have to stand 10 meters away from LRT stations and bus shelters, which means they will have to stand roughly about this far away to smoke while waiting for the bus.
Not everyone is in favor of the proposed amendments. City Council member Carrie Diot feels the city is stepping beyond its jurisdictions.
The federal government takes care of health issues, as does the province. And I think that we get sucked into these things and get into territory that we have no business being in.
In fact, the city plans on spending $75,000 on a campaign to draw attention to the new bylaw.
The money itself is minuscule what they're giving out, $75,000, but at least it's a start.
So there'd have to be a large chunk of money allocated, as well as time and resources allocated to educating the public about the new policy.
The $75,000 budgeted will be spread out over 3 years with an emphasis on creating awareness and community involvement in the new bylaw.
Patrick, why would anyone be opposed to this bylaw?
When talking with Councillor Diot, his feeling was this is more of a common sense issue and something that the city doesn't need to concern itself with. He doesn't want Edmonton to become a nanny state where the government steps in and polices every little issue.
Now, what is the next step for this proposed bylaw?
The bylaw goes before City Council next week for 3 readings and a vote. If passed, the bylaw will come into effect April 1st of this year.
Thanks, Patrick. That's Patrick Knowles reporting live from our news center tonight.
This is NAIT NewsWatch.
Bill 26 was passed in Alberta, lowering the alcohol level in Class 5 drivers from 0.08 to 0.05.
But at the same time as Bill 26 was proposed, there was also recommended changes for new drivers. Ali McGee joins us on 97th Street with more.
Alberta Transportation has proposed 2 new changes for drivers holding a graduated driver's license. The Graduated Driver's License Program, commonly known as GDL, is a probationary driving period between a learner's license and a Class 5. The proposed changes to the program would be restricting driving from midnight and 5 a.m. and not allowing more than 1 passenger in the vehicle below the age of 18. 16-year-old Evelyn Gorman's next step in the licensing is a GDL, but she's not sure if there's a need for more restrictions.
I think that's a great inconvenience for everyone in my age group. I mean, at this age, not everybody has their license, but for that one person means that everyone could carpool to school and carpool home, carpool to parties and events.
The GDL program was introduced to Alberta in 2003, and since then, accidents involving new drivers have gone down by 77%. Driver's education teacher Navdeep Jahan can see the benefits of the proposed changes.
Drivers, they required more skill. To give them more skills, this program was introduced, and this program is working very good.
Alberta Transportation's Heather Kazuba agrees, saying they would be positive changes to the system.
New drivers need to learn, and as we look at implementing the GDL changes, we're looking at improving those riskiest times so that we can hopefully have a safe transition for motorists as they learn to drive.
And although she may not be pleased with the proposed new laws, Evelyn definitely sees the merit in keeping a GDL system in place.
think that is a good program. You need to be completely aware and have all of your senses good to go, and got to have fast reaction time for everything.
Although these proposed changes have already been debated, there's no set timeline for them to be implemented.
Thanks, Allie. That's Allie McGee reporting from 97th Street.
This month, Edmonton police are cracking down on outstanding warrants. Warrants can include bylaw infractions such as unpaid parking tickets, smoking violations, and failure to remove snow. Operation Warrant Execution is a month-long campaign that gives people until April 2nd to step up before running the risk of seeing their names and faces advertised publicly.
Make people aware that they have a responsibility. A warrant isn't just a piece of paper to stick in a drawer. There are consequences involved, and so we're trying to through awareness, give them the opportunity to come forward and deal with those.
Already more than 700 warrants have been dealt with out of the more than 16,000 outstanding warrants.
Hundreds of empty red dresses were hanging around the University of Alberta campus this week. The Red Dress Project was created in an attempt to raise awareness of the number of missing and murdered Aboriginal women in Canada. Métis artist Jamie Black was brought in to install the dresses, all of which she has collected over the past few years.
They really have an emotional connection with the dresses, I think, right away when they see them, because they recognize that the dress is empty, and therefore they kind of have a haunting feeling, and people really react to that.
Black and the project organizers hope that by raising awareness, the dresses can help to make a positive change.
A heartbreaking discovery was made at a North Edmonton mall. Two kittens were abandoned outside of Abbotsfield Mall this week in a zipped-up camera bag. A man noticed the bag and took it directly to the mall's security, where they discovered the hungry and frightened kittens. While it is fortunate that they were found alive, Sean Randolph of Edmonton's Humane Society cautions against the attitude that animals are disposable.
People can indeed be prosecuted for abandoning animals. And just people need to know that there are alternatives, that you can come to the Edmonton Humane Society. We, of course, never turn any animal away, any companion animal, regardless of its age, its health, its behavior.
Once they have been medically cleared, the kittens will be available for adoption.
Edmonton snow removal crews removed just 2% of what they faced last year, saving money on snow removal for the first time in a long time. The city insists that despite the low amount of snow, it won't affect how the snow removal budget will be spent in the future.
Well, it's not a bad problem to have, to be ahead on your snow budget. The one thing that most people don't realize is that the snow budget, like all the city budgets, goes from January 1st to December 31st.
The snow removal budget increased $4 million from last year to $47 million. While the trucks won't be removing as much snow, they'll still be on the roads, sanding and paving.
A grant from the City of Edmonton will help a local organization to support inner-city youth.
A lot of the youth are very traumatized.
The iHuman Youth Society gives at-risk youth a chance to positively express themselves. The society works with other agencies in order to help the disadvantaged youth who are frequently downtown. iHuman provides a space and supplies for youth to create and give back to their community.
We use whatever form of art the youth wish to express themselves in, so whether that's visual art, music, fashion, drama, dance, whatever mode of expression they want to use.
The society received just under $2 million from the city towards their $10 million goal and plans to use the money towards getting a permanent home for iHuman.
Winners of the Alberta Consumer Champion Awards were announced this week. The Consumer Awards are handed out annually in recognition of outstanding efforts to help consumers make informed decisions. There were 8 award winners, 4 in the youth category.
It's really important to get young people thinking about these sorts of issues as well. I mean, young people are a very, very a powerful demographic in our society. Young people have incredible buying power.
The youth category has been in place for 4 years now, in hopes that young people will learn to be aware of risks as a consumer.
The province celebrated Alberta's vibrant French culture at the legislature this week. The audience was treated to the Classe Senior Choir, which consists of students from 3 Francophone high schools in Edmonton. Dolores Nolette is the president of the Association of Francophones of Alberta.
Alberta needs to continue recognizing the fact that it has a strong French-speaking community contributing to its advancement.
The Francophone culture no longer depends on people who were born with the French heritage, as more and more Albertans are electing to learn French in school.
Coming up after the break, police officers braved the elements for a good cause.
4 officers took part in a special camping challenge.
First night was really cold, which was kind of hard to deal with.
And more money is going towards health and addiction in our province.
I think that it's good to have extra funding in there and extra programs.
Coming up after the break in End Zone Challenge, I learned some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Some of Edmonton's finest braved the elements this past week.
They camped outside for a few days to help raise money for a good cause. 4 members of the Edmonton Police Service took up the challenge of backwoods winter camping in support of the Wilderness Youth Challenge program. The WYCP works with high-risk youth and aims to build their confidence through successfully challenging themselves. The officers set up camp at Elk Island National Park and simulated what the youth participants experience in the program.
Different. First night was really cold, which was kind of hard to deal with. We didn't have much food, so had to melt snow to drink. We didn't have any water bottles, nothing like that.
The WYCP relies on financial support from the community to continue benefiting high-risk youth.
Well, we have Danny outside. I wonder how it's going to be this weekend.
Tell me you have something good to tell us, Danny.
Oh, I got a lot of good stuff to tell you guys. This warm weather is going to continue, and all this warm weather is being caused by an upper-level ridge that has formed over Alberta, and that's causing all the bad weather and systems to be pushed up and over the province. But on Sunday night, a stronger low-pressure system is going to move in from BC, and that's going to cause some snow. And that snow will be either in the Fort McMurray region or farther south into the Edmonton area. So let's take a look at the forecast around Alberta for Sunday. In Calgary, there'll be sunshine all day. They'll start off at 0, and the mercury will climb all the way to 10. In Jasper, it's a different story, though. -9 will be the morning low, with a 60% chance of wet snow throughout the day, reaching a high of 2. In Fort McMurray, there will be a low of -10, and there will be a 30% chance of snow in the afternoon. 1 degree will be the high. And in the capital city, it'll be -2 to start. There'll be increasing cloud throughout the day, and the temperature will top off at around 7. And a quick look at the almanac, in 1934 it was 18, and the record low of -24 was set in 1951.
Weather brought to you by NR92.
And guys, don't forget to turn your clocks an hour ahead this weekend as daylight savings time begins.
Well, it sounds like I can break out my bikini pretty soon.
Yeah, I think so.
Thanks, Danny.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome.
As part of the 2012 budget, the Alberta government is increasing spending towards health and addiction services in our province.
$8 million will be put towards services to benefit and provide awareness to children and youth. Our Justine Wojia has more on that story.
And ladies and gentlemen, we're better to do this than by focusing on children and youth.
Health and Wellness Minister Fred Horn announced that starting immediately, there will be an increase in services for children and youth regarding mental health and addictions.
70% of mental illnesses emerge during childhood or adolescence. And left untreated, these individuals could suffer and do suffer needlessly for years, leading to bigger problems down the road.
According to Canadian Mental Health Association, 1 in 5 adult Canadians will suffer from a mental disorder in their life. Teaching children at a younger age will help them identify and acknowledge these issues. More programs are being created within the province to help in the prevention of suicide and addictions. And there will also be an increase in initiative to eliminate bullying. An increase in school-based supports for children and youth is a target area for immediate attention. The extra funding is a topic that many agree will be beneficial for future students.
I think that like a lot of traditional learning systems don't help those kids at all, where they've come from a bad home or if they do have addiction issues and stuff. So I definitely think that it's good to have extra funding in there and extra programs to kind of guide them along so that they do end up in post-secondary and not on the streets.
The government says expanding mental health and addiction programs will mean better outcomes for Albertans, in hopes that future generations will have the support and the resources that they need. Justine Woja, NAIT NewsWatch.
Well, it's that time of year and playoffs are in the air.
Time for University Hawk players to dig deep, right, Fred?
That's right, Stephen. Our Ooks are in a big hole, and the U of A Pandas are about to start a push to win a national championship on home ice. Step into the end zone now. In the ACAC playoffs, the NAIT Ooks were up against the Mount Royal College Cougars, already down one game in the series. Starting the second, NAIT in the home whites, Mount Royal in the blue. With NAIT already up one, Bradley Goss goes for the Ryan Smith wraparound and sneaks the puck in. Game tied at 1. Now on to the third when the Ooks' Kyle Johnson slaps one from the point to put the Ooks back on top. Jordan Harrison gains his own, plays a give and go before putting the puck in off the post. Game now tied at 2 at the end of regulation. The Ooks looked fired up coming out to start the overtime and tried to end this one quickly. As Jordan Draper dangles past the defense, he's stopped by Justin Coate. Mount Royal tries another wraparound attempt, but Graham Harrington is there to make the save. After the first shot is blocked, Brendan Turnbull snaps a quick shot home, giving Mount Royal the 2-0 series lead. The University of Alberta Pandas are one of the few teams in Edmonton that keep us the City of Champions, winning 7 national championships in the last 15 seasons, and this year we'll be hosting the Big Dance.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 2012 CIS Women's Hockey Championship.
The captains representing the 6 teams that qualified for the finals of Laurier, McGill, the universities of Prince Edward Island, Alberta, Calgary, and Montreal met earlier this week before the start of the tournament.
In order to win a national championship and deserve a national championship, you have to beat the best teams. So I think Laurier, McGill, anyone would be very competitive.
The McGill Martlets look to repeat as CIS national champions, while the University of Alberta Pandas look for their 8th national champion under coach Howie Draper. You can catch the final game March 11th at the University of Alberta's Claire Drake Arena. The 2-4 Edmonton Rush have an important home-and-home series this weekend with the Calgary Roughnecks. At practice, Rush captain Jimmy Quinlan led his troops, preparing them for this week's big matchup.
Huge. I mean, obviously we're 2-4 right now, and that's not where we want to be. So if we do what we need to do this weekend, we'll get back to 500.
Rush D-man Ryan Dilk stressed how important these 2 games are to their season.
If we could come out here with 2 big wins, it would be a really huge turning point for our season.
The Rush will be wearing their Twitter handles on their jersey tonight as they take on the Roughnecks in Calgary at 7. The University of Alberta's women's field hockey program is being shut down earlier this week. I spoke with the University Athletic Director Ian Reid, and he said that the demand for field hockey in Alberta is not high and that other programs such as squash would be a better destination for the funding. Mixed martial arts is a very wide-range sport, meaning it has many different styles and techniques that can be used. In today's End Zone Challenge, we take a look at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay, it's not what you think, but more on how I got here later. First, I needed to stretch before being pretzelized. Meet Ryan, the real deal 40, a Canadian mixed martial artist with a professional record of 17-4, who is training to make his Bellator Fighting Championship debut.
Okay, so today's technique, what we're going to show is arm bar from guard. So we're in full guard here. Control the wrist. Right arm on the elbow of the arm, you're in arm bar. Left arm on the side of the head. Switch the hips. Leg down, pull them over, lift the hips up. I throw this up, come around. I got the triangle here, or I got an arm bar too. So I'll make them tap.
After practicing locking in the armbar, I figured I was ready to try it out in the octagon.
We're gonna go for a quick 60-second spar session with some jiu-jitsu and see how many times you can tap me out.
One.
When I finally did get Ryan's back, he let his mom know he was doing fine.
I'm on.
After being tapped out 5 times, I had just about enough.
You're a brave man, Fred.
Yeah, those guys really don't play around. Anyone interested can catch Ryan Ford making his Bellator Fighting Championship debut May 4th, live on The Score.
Glad that wasn't me on that, Matt.
It's a tough sport.
Coming up after the break, Stephen and I exercised our muscles, including our hearts.
We were part of Edmonton's Snow Angels.
Community to stay safe, accessible, and mobile.
Coming up in entertainment, we're standing in line for the biggest game launch of the year.
NAIT NewsWatch jackets, sponsored by JobSite Workwear.
Love Thy Neighbor is given more meaning by some Edmontonians.
The Snow Angels initiative encourages people to lend a hand to neighbors who need help moving snow. This winter hasn't seen a lot of snowfall, but for some people, particularly seniors and those with disabilities, even a little can pose a problem.
The reason why the Snow Angels program is important is that it allows community to stay safe, accessible, and mobile during snowfall.
The program also provides recognition for the volunteers. People are asked to nominate their Snow Angels, who are then entered to win prizes such as food certificates, Oil Kings tickets, and zoo passes. For more information, visit edmonton.ca.
From the biggest game and the gadget releases of the year to the revival of some Broadway classics on the Edmonton stage.
Beljo Bahati has all that and more in this week's entertainment.
Mass Effect 3, one of the biggest entertainment releases of the year, came out on Tuesday. Southgate Mall was full of people who had lined up to get a copy of the game. The crowd started out small but grew quickly. Pretty soon there was a huge lineup waiting to get their hands on Mass Effect 3. Mass Effect is an award-winning game series that follows the adventures of Commander Shepard as he tries to save Earth from an attacking race of machines. Edmonton actor Mark Meir has been the voice of Shepard for over 5 years now.
It's been an honor to be Commander Shepard. You know, like I'm a very small part of a very large and intricate machine, and it's great to be a cog in that machinery. You know.
Of course, at midnight, people were finally allowed to come in and grab their copies and head home for a long night of gaming. Apple finally announced a follow-up to one of their most successful products,
which gives you the ability to quickly navigate and edit your photos.
On Wednesday, Apple CEO Tim Cook went on stage to announce the new iPad. Oddly enough, it's not called the iPad 3, just the new iPad, according to Apple. It boasts a new screen that is almost 4 times more detailed than the screen on the iPad 2. It also has a faster processor and an HD camera that can shoot 1080p video.
The reality is that even they mentioned yesterday, the iPads and non-PC devices such as the iPads, the iPods, the iPhones, that's now 75% of Apple's sales. That's a huge number, right? So it's helping them immensely.
Much to the delight of Canadian shoppers, the iPad will be hitting stores the same date in Canada as it will in the US. Expect to see lineups outside stores on March 16th when it's released. A new show by some local talent is bringing some of Broadway's most famous classics to the Edmonton stage.
What can you do?
Starting last Wednesday, the Varscona Theatre played host to Jocelyn Alf and Andrew MacDonald Smith in concert. The two are veterans of Teatro La Quindecina, a local Edmonton stage production company. Working with composer Ryan Sigurdsson, the two stars will be putting on a new show of Broadway classics.
There's a lot of classics. We go everything from Bernstein but all the way up to shows like Spamalot and shows like that. So we do a big spectrum of shows, but a lot of classic stuff.
Other Broadway hits from Irving Berlin, Cole Porter, and Richard Rodgers will be played. You can get your tickets at www.ticksonthesquare.com. This rough economy has a lot of young people staying at home with their parents. But what happens when you're 30 and still living home with your mother?
What if there's no wrong numbers? Maybe it's always the right number.
Hello?
Mom?
Jeff,
Hi.
you know you're supposed to say hello when you pick up the phone. Get off that couch or you're going to find someplace else to live.
Just kind of in the middle of something right now, Mom.
Jeff, what do you do in the basement? You're not cleaning it.
You really want to know? You didn't like it last time we had this
Okay,
conversation.
no, you're right, I don't.
Jeff, who lives at home, tells the story of the eponymous character, played by Jason Segel, who is suffering from an existential crisis because he's 30 and living at home with his mother, played by Susan Sarandon. While on a journey to buy some wood glue, he comes across his brother, played by Ed Helms, who's in the middle of his own midlife crisis.
A phone call from Randy at Millennium Porsche.
We're not getting a Porsche.
You're just like in this mindset.
We don't have the money.
Yeah, that's the mindset I'm talking about.
Pat.
Surprise.
Both brothers try to deal with their own problems, while also trying to bring their family closer together. The movie has been a critical darling at film festivals, and will have a wide release on March 16.
Stay in the car. I am fine, yes. Thank you for asking. Good.
The first 3 people to tweet at NAIT NewsWatch will win passes to the movie and some free swag. While Wonder Woman had her own invisible jet, the engineers at Mercedes-Benz have set their sights a little bit lower in this week's viral video. Well, I think I'll go check out Jeff, who lives at home, for some tips on leaving the nest, and maybe Stefan can loan us his Mercedes so we can turn it invisible. Back to you, Anya and Stefan.
Well, I haven't washed my car in over a year, so...
Maybe it'd be a good idea to cover that eyesore. Thanks, Beljo.
The top baby names of 2011 in Alberta were released on Tuesday.
For the second year in a row, Liam was the #1 choice for boys. As for the girls, Olivia took the top prize, taking over from Emma. Some unique names on the list include Dreams, Love, and Symphony for girls, and Essay, Smiley, and Moo for the boys. Also, a royal visit last year in Alberta sparked many monarch-type names on the list. Over 50,000 babies were born in our province last year.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Have a good night.